Welcome to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast with TJ and Sonny.
Hello and welcome to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast. My name is TJ McConahay, and I'm joined by a special guest today. Sonny couldn't make it, / has been leaving me on red, so I'm going to have a different co-host this week. Please welcome to the show my true best friend, Britt McConahay.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Also, Brittany is my wife, if you didn't get that.
I was going to say.
Maybe like my unmarried sister or something. Maybe people were. All right. Brittany, what is real?
Oh, not much. Not much.
Usually I ask Sonny that at this point, and he gives me some long diatribe about what's going on in his fringy life.
Oh, man. What's real? Changed a couple diapers today, did the laundry.
The real fringe.
It's real. It's getting real.
Yeah. So, Britt, what are we going to be talking about today?
All right. Well, we're going to keep the same format as your usual episodes.
Don't get that mixed up, please. This is my podcast, and I've been trying to tell Sonny that too. If you fringe listeners who are true to the fringe know, like, there is one thread that has needled its way through this whole fringe project, and that is me. Mm-hmm. So, you guys who love Sonny, light him up on social media.
So I'm subbing for Sonny. So does that mean I have to channel Sonny's energy?
No, please
and
don't.
Opinions about things?
I could use a week off.
I would be happy to do it.
I know.
All right. This week on the show, we've got question of the week. We've got a couple tales from the fringe.
Yes.
We're going to stay on the lighter side, the funnier side this week, instead of getting too serious on our Tales from the Fringe.
Yeah, but before we do that, let's talk a little bit about last week's episode. Last week's episode was our most it set a record for us for the most downloads in a week. It hasn't become our most downloaded one yet, but it's well on pace to do that. I talked about getting fired and all the drama that came with that, and a lot of people reaching out, a lot of people who've had that same story, and it's just... it's really kind of devastating, actually, to hear these stories, even though it is helpful. And I think, we need to be talking more about these things. And, I don't know, maybe there needs to be a Facebook group or a breakout session at a conference just to help us get through these difficult times. But I want to thank you guys. Thank you for listening in and tuning in and making episode 33 so successful. If you loved last week's episode, please head on over. I know we say it all the time, but please head on over. Give us a review on iTunes. Those iTunes reviews are really what grow our show. When people type in youth ministry, a lot of podcasts pop up with lots of reviews, and so we need you guys to just give us reviews. So you can just give us the 5 stars, or you can actually leave a message for us. And I love it when you guys leave a message for us. But yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah, I was looking at your guys' podcast on iTunes or Apple Music or whatever it is, and it looks like you haven't had any new reviews since the beginning of September.
Oh my goodness.
So these listeners, come
That's
on.
That's probably our fault, though.
I think it is your fault, but I'm going to blame listeners right now. Step it up.
We've been kind of, since September, not great. So, but
Not great.
Not great. Well, we had our most successful one last week, but we haven't been consistent. So
you haven't been consistent.
That is on us. We are trying to get more consistent. Sonny and I live in 2 different states, so it is a little hard to get us together, but we understand that this podcast does mean a lot to a lot of people, so we're trying to keep it going. And if you want to keep us going, the clapping that is Tinkerbell's life source, iTunes reviews is that for the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast. So that was like a clunky way to say that. That joke setup was just super clunky.
I was trying to think
the clap that Tinkerbell finds herself with.
Wait, isn't the clap like a...
Yeah, it's STD. I didn't mean to go there. But you know what? This is the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast, so we can say whatever we want.
That's
In
true.
fact, when Justin Herman comes on this podcast, he uses it basically as his shock jock moment. So,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Review
Anyway.
the podcast. Rate and review.
And please leave out the whole Tinkerbell STD thing. Thank you.
True.
Join the conversation on Facebook and Instagram. And when you subscribe to this podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating. We desperately need your approval.
Question of the week. This week, Our question is very, very relevant to what we're going to be doing. What is that question, Britt?
All right, the question of the week is, what are we most excited about for this week's National Youth Worker Convention?
That's right.
Woo!
Britt and I are going to Tampa. We're leaving the kids with
Tampa.
Mima, and we are heading out for a conference time in Tampa. I was so happy last year as I was sitting in St. Louis, freezing my tail off. I mean, it was so cold. It was so cold. We'll say, how cold was it?
Oh, sorry. How cold was it?
It was so cold.
How cold was it?
I literally, I rented one of those scooters, those electric scooters,
Yeah.
and I slipped out on ice, and I just my face planted onto the ground in front of a bunch of other people. I thought I was so cool looking on one of those electric scooters. I was like, I got the app. I made this thing run. I'm gonna go get my soup from the CVS. Which we don't have those up in the Northwest, but they're apparently everywhere else. And I got my soup, and then all of a sudden, bam! I hit the ground before I even knew it. I slipped out on some ice. And
yes, last year was your first time going to the National Youth Workers Convention.
It is.
And you won a ticket from Download Youth Ministry.
I did. They selected me.
Yeah, and they're
like
randomizer.
It was like the Hunger Games in reverse.
Yeah. But that meant that you were by yourself. So I didn't get to go. No one else got to go. So you were just scootering through town.
By myself.
By yourself, living your best life.
Living my best life, and then I slipped out and just hit it hard. And, you're hurting, but you also just got to stand up quick because it's so embarrassing.
I'm excited that we're going to Tampa. Except, when I talk to people that have lived in the South, some of our military friends that have been stationed down that way, they're like, yeah, Tampa. It doesn't sound like it's that cool.
It sounds like the South, and maybe people who are from there can testify this. We're from the Northwest, so you can't get any further away from the South than us.
I don't even.
I mean, we are out of it. I mean, we sound super white. I mean, the Northwest accent is the most white. When people do the stereotypical white accent and they're not white, it sounds like us. So, but Southerners, you guys got your own culture, your own ideas about things. But what we heard. Now, we could have been talking to someone biased, someone from Tennessee. We heard that Florida is kind of looked down on in the South. It's like the armpit of the South down there. So
we are staying at the cheapest hotel we could possibly get in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just going to be real interesting.
Yep, we'll see. But there's some other cool things we get to do this week.
What are you most excited about? There you go.
That's the question?
Yeah.
Question of the week is, what am I most excited about for the National Youth Workers Convention? For me, I'm getting the opportunity to podcast live at the CIY, Christ in Youth booth. This has been made available because we are part of this awesome network called the Youth Ministry Podcast Network, and Justin Herman kind of spearheaded that for us. So Britt and I will be there, and we'll be live. And I don't know what I'm gonna do at this point. Actually, I don't even know when my time slots are. The other network guys all know what their time slots are, but we're kind of been slacking off, so I don't really know when ours is. But I will make sure that gets posted for all of you randos. Both of you randos, I probably should say. So you guys can come by and say hi. And I want to put you guys on the podcast. That's what I want to do this week. A lot of other podcasts are trying to get the biggest names they can get on the podcast. And we're not buying into that hype. Mostly because maybe we can't get them. But also, the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast is really the working man's podcast of youth ministry. And so we want to hear from you. And what we want to do is we want to do an entire episode. I'm putting this out there. Britt didn't agree with this, but I'm gonna make an executive decision. I want to put together an entire episode of Tales from the Fringe from randos at the National Youth Workers Convention. So if you see me live there, or you come by me times, I'll give you 5, maybe 7 minutes to tell your tale from the Fringe. If it's good enough, we'll put it into the podcast, and you can know what it's like to host the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast. Woo. That's what I'm most excited about. Yeah. So CIY booth, come see me, see all the other guys in the network. It's going to be awesome. And if the guys from DYM or Orange try to say they're cooler than us, don't believe the hype. Don't believe. Except for I can't even say that anymore because because I'm actually sitting next to a DYM published author. So at this point, like...
One of thousands.
You are DYM. You are part of the corporation. Yes. You're a cog in the system. Britt.
DYM accepted a curriculum packet that I wrote.
Yes.
Which is great.
And they didn't even edit it. Like, usually it's like the whole editing process.
But they also...
Because my wife has a master's degree in teaching and she edits everything for me and she is a genius when it comes to this stuff, they didn't even have to edit back. They literally just put it on there. And I'm going to say one more thing. She hates this, by the way. She hates this. And Doug Fields reviewed it and said, so much value. Was that the word? So much value. So much value.
Speaking straight to my
3-word review.
Enneagram 2-ness.
Three. Yeah, for me, yeah, she is an Enneagram 2, so that spoke milestones.
But it's just humbling because, like, okay, I put a ton of hours into creating that curriculum.
Yes, that's
which
right.
is great, and this is my first one that's ever been accepted.
I know.
But, like,
congratulations.
It's accepted
Are you
right
bragging
next.
Right now?
No,
I've only been accepted by one other one.
Okay, listen.
But so far, I've made more money as a publisher author. So
wow, good for you. And okay, so but the humbling
till
thing.
I die.
The humbling thing is, it's like the resources placed right next to like a game called like which poop is bigger or whatever. I mean, it's just so it's not like
poop is bigger.
I love it. You talk me up, a published author, but there's a lot of published people on there.
Hey, well, you don't have to go after them right now. I mean,
no, I like that stuff.
They probably made a lot more money than you for the which
I know.
Poop is bigger.
That's what I'm saying. Why are we spending time writing curriculum? We should just be making games.
So if you want to search it, it is called the Be Still. It's a worship experience. Go buy it because every time you do, it puts money in our pocket.
What?
So pay for our trip to Tampa. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But even more than that, it is an awesome resource. We did it as our we did it for our youth group, and it went really amazing. It's just a worship experience thing. If you want to go on my Facebook, you can see that whole the video from it and see if you want to buy it. I think it's cheap, right? It's like what, $12?
Yeah. No, it's like $8.
I think it's worth more than that.
Okay.
So much value.
Thank you, Doug Fields.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I? Can I say what I'm excited about? Or is this all about you?
Well, I mean, it is my podcast.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I will now clunkily intro you into this. Brittany, what are you most excited about at the National Youth Workers Convention in Tampa next week?
Yeah. Actually, like this week.
Is it hanging out?
We're leaving tomorrow.
Is it hanging out with your friends at the DYM booth?
No. So
she gets to be in a special Facebook group, by the way. I don't even get to be in the Facebook group. But
you're not in the authors group. I'm sorry.
Okay, Grow doesn't have an authors group. That stinks, though. Okay.
Okay, so my things aren't that exciting. But number one, I hope, because I've never been to the National Youth Workers Convention. And we've been doing youth ministry for, 14 years now? And I've never been to the biggest...
13, 14, 15. Depends on when you start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always does, though, doesn't it? But I've never been to the biggest youth worker convention in the country, and I'm such a youth worker junkie that I'm so pumped. So here's what I'm hoping. This would be my dream. If there's free Diet Coke all over the convention center, is that how it works? Because when I went to Andy Stanley's Drive conference, remember the one
now
that I went?
Name drop here.
Well,
Doug Fields, Andy Stanley.
When I went to the Drive conference, which you weren't at,
I wasn't there.
When I went to that with Bethany, there was free Diet Coke in every room. There was refrigerators in every room.
Why was it just Diet Coke?
No, that's what I cared about. There's free soda in every room.
Oh.
I was so high on Diet Coke at the end of that weekend.
That's not going to happen next week. There wasn't there when I was there last week. You could have just asked me that before they got on the podcast.
I was just fantasizing about it.
But there is other free stuff. I mean, you're going to get free T-shirts and stickers.
Yes. So that's my second thing. I want to get so every day. If anyone knows me, you know that I like to wear jeans and a T-shirt every single day. So I basically live in free youth ministry T-shirts.
Very gender fluid.
What? I basically live in free youth ministry T-shirts, and I feel like I will have a new wardrobe by the end of the week. Because last year you came back with like 14 T-shirts, so and only one for me, but I'm not bitter. So this year I'm gonna have so many free T-shirts.
That's true.
And then my last one is I want to meet people in real life that we've only met on Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many youth workers out there that we talk to all the time on Facebook, and I've never met them in real life, but I feel like I know them. So.
Yeah. My assistant is obsessed with Frank Gill.
Yeah, you're going to meet Frank.
Yeah. Well, Frank actually said on my stuff he's excited to meet me. Oh. So, I'm a big name to him.
He's being generous.
Aubrey. I mean, it's
Yeah, he's
peers.
being generous.
We're buds. We're friends. He's been on the podcast before.
That's true.
Yeah. it is time for Tales from the Fringe. Britt and I have worked, like we said, 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe 16 years in youth ministry. And a lot of it has actually been with fringe kids, with kids who didn't grow up in church and, come to know Jesus, and they've got a whole lot of catching up to do. Let's call it that. The way Christians talk about it is like, God's not finished with them yet. I hate that. But we've worked a lot with fringe kids and in different capacities, and it's really our heart. Even though we've worked in a traditional church experience, we really enjoy working with the kids who, like Young Life would call, the furthest kid out. Mm-hmm. That's really what we like. Mm-hmm. So Tales from the Fringe is just that. It's stories about fringe kids, and sometimes the fringe kids are ourselves. But Britt, tell me your tale from the Fringe.
Okay. So my tale from the Fringe took place at our last church down in Oregon. And we had this high schooler. Like most of the people who listen to this, Oregon's might be up or over in Oregon. So okay, well, we're in Washington, so Oregon South.
It's down from us, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We've moved on up.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
But we love Oregon.
Yeah.
So it took place at that church. And this was, it was regarding a girl who was a high schooler at the time.
Yes.
And she was a bit of like a hypochondriac / drama queen.
Yes.
It's hard because
she also lied a lot.
That's the thing. Yeah. They're just students sometimes, and it's like weird because you meet one or two every couple years. It's like they just can't not lie, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on.
Yes. When you first start youth ministry, you believe these students.
Yeah.
And it's really like once you realize that there's a lot of them just lying, then it.
Well, not a lot of them, but like a few students that are just BSing it.
Now it's a lot easier to sniff that out.
Yeah. 17
years into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, 17 years now. Anyways, okay, so this girl, she had a few issues, but one night we were sitting during the lesson time in the sanctuary, and she ran out all of a sudden, like real dramatically. She got up, she's like flailing her arms, and she runs out of the double doors to head out of the sanctuary.
Yeah.
And of course, when one fringe kid leaves,
yes,
the
especially when that fringe kid is a girl.
Yes, another herd of girls must follow her.
Because they need to be there in case she starts crying.
Yes, and she did.
Oh, yeah.
But she didn't just start crying. So she ran out of the sanctuary. She ran out through the hallway, and she actually made it to the outside of the church building.
Yep.
And she was out there with a group of probably 4.
And by the way, this never happens during the game. It never happens during the fun parts.
No.
It's the second worship starts or the sermon starts. That's when, I can't even more. I just can't be here anymore, Becky. I can't do this. 10 seconds ago, she was like sniffing shaving cream through a straw, like in not like a drug way, but in like a game, an upfront game way.
Yeah, exactly. So this is during the sermon, and anyway, so I follow them out because I'm like, I look at the other leaders and I'm like, I got this.
And by the way, I was killing it that night.
Probably.
I was preaching like crazy good.
Probably.
I just wanted to throw that in there.
Okay. And so I wanted to let the other lady leaders off the hook. I was like, I got this. I'm the pro. I'm going to head out there. So I walk out to the outside where this girl's at, and she's not just crying. She's hyperventilating to the point where, like, I'm actually kind of scared, even though I know she's kind of full of it sometimes. Like, I'm really scared because and it's like
she's upped her game a little bit here.
Oh, she upped her game really hardcore. Mm-hmm. So her friends are telling me, oh my gosh, she can't breathe. We need to call the ambulance. We need to call. And I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to call the ambulance yet because, like, she's still breathing, but she's really struggling.
You want to make sure that she's dead before she has to be resuscitated.
Well, come on.
We're not going to spend the money on an ambulance like this. Just someone who's trying to breathe.
No. I'm like, no, I'll call her Grandpa. Okay.
Yeah.
So
well, we had his number because we've been through some of these before.
Right. So I'm gonna call her Grandpa, but she is just hyperventilating. So at one point,
and is she like laying on the ground?
They laid her on the ground. Yeah.
Okay.
And so she's prepared for if the ambulance were to come.
Yeah.
And her friends are like, she can't breathe. She doesn't know what she's gonna do. So I tell her, hey, I'm gonna call your grandpa. And I need you to just wait here. I need you to be still. I don't want you to panic and take deep breaths and all this stuff.
# be still. That's also Britt's curriculum. She's just weaving that into her story.
True. So anyway, she's laying there on the ground and she's going, And and so all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she goes, "Before you call my grandpa," and then she stops, and her voice completely changes, and she goes, "Can someone go grab my bag of Doritos downstairs?" She looks at her friend. She's like, "It's the Cool Ranch." So she completely, her breathing is totally fine at that point. Yeah, All she needed was her Doritos.
To make sure that this part gets out clearly to the friend.
Yeah.
My Doritos are inside, and I'm outside, and I'm going home. So.
And of course, her friends bit that. What's that called?
They bit that?
They bit that.
Yo, I'm biting that.
They took the bait. Of course, her friends took the bait. So they run downstairs to go get the Cool Ranch Doritos, and she goes back to hyperventilating until I can get a hold of her grandpa, and he comes. So it was all just...
And she didn't die.
No.
We should say that.
It was nothing. I don't know if it was just that she needed the Doritos or she just needed the attention. We know that's what it's about.
It really is about that.
But,
and not to spiritualize it too much, but there are a lot of kids who live in deprivation of attention. They didn't get the right attention, so now they've learned how to get the wrong attention, and so they willed that, and that manifests in all sorts of unhealthy ways. But what would you say, Britt? How do you take somebody who's trying to get unhealthy attention and teach them how to accept and seek healthy attention? Yeah.
Always minimize the drama. Don't take the bait when it comes to drama. Yes. Do not take the bait. Yeah. Don't run and get the Doritos. She's going to be okay. Yeah. But the other thing is, shortly after that, I think we only were there probably a year after that. If she would have stuck with us for a couple of years, we would have seen so much growth, because once kids have, healthy adult relationships around them and healthy peer relationships and healthy mentors, things change. They start to get the attention that they need, the healthy form of it. And I don't know. I wish we could have stuck around a couple of years to see how her behavior and her need for attention would have changed. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the things that's great about that is youth ministry tends to solve that. Because one of the great things about youth ministry is it tends to give students attention. Mm-hmm. And if you can create a healthy place where students can get attention in a healthy way, you can solve a lot of their social issues. Yeah. I think in so many ways, and obviously the gospel and Jesus and coming to know him and having the Holy Spirit inside of you, all that stuff is true, but also having this community of people who are teaching you through just the way that they are, how to be and get attention and be affirmed in that, and be affirmed for the right reasons and for healthy reasons. And there's a statement in youth ministry, and we used to say this all the time back in the 90s when I was growing up.
On our 20th year
one of the things we used to say to each other, and it's so true, was, you ain't got to lie to kick it.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to make an appearance again. I think that, maybe in a different, more Gen Z way, but you don't have to lie to kick it. And maybe that's the weird flex, but okay, kind of statement. But I absolutely believe that youth ministry teaches that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, your tale from the Fringe.
Tale from the Fringe. It goes way back to 20 years ago when we first started youth ministry. This was our very first church. We got it. I've said this before. We got this job as a first part was like a short-term thing, and then it turned into a long-term thing, and it was part-time, then it was full-time. But it was a small little church that realized that they were dying. They needed a youth group, so they went and made a deal with Singular, a cell phone company at the time, to be able to pay for a youth pastor. And that was our very first job out of college, a little tiny town. In fact, the town was most notable for the best antique stores in like the Northwest. So we were on the cutting edge of youth ministry, starting a youth ministry in a antique town.
Yeah, talk about Fringe.
Yeah, there it was. But the youth ministry grew, and pretty soon there was this very strange dynamic where they had this thriving youth ministry in this little old person church. I guess elderly person church for our elderly people who listen to this podcast. They don't. But and it was a very strange thing. And sometimes it was really cool, but most of the time it was really hard. Elderly people have standards that they want enforced, and they see them as gospel standards, like wearing your hat in church is a big no-no. Yeah. And, the way you look and present yourself when you come to church, that ended up being a discussion. And it wasn't easy. It definitely wasn't an easy first experience. However, sometimes something beautifully hilarious would happen. And on one such day, I was in the worship team. You were on the worship team. You were playing guitar. I was playing bass because that's where people who aren't good at the guitar go. I'm sorry, bass players, but it's true.
Or good at singing.
And good at singing. So I was out there on the bass. And our worship pastor is kind of a middle-aged guy, and he's really awesome. He's dynamic. He's really trying to help get the church into this new era of thinking about itself as a younger person church, and he was really great. In fact, Perry, if you ever listen to this, I'm sure you don't, but we love you and miss you and thank you for all you did for us. But he was trying really hard to get us there, and so his idea was to have people randomly stand up throughout the service and read verses in between different pauses in the worship, different instrumentals in the worship. And it was really powerful. Like, we're singing about God's love, and someone would stand up and sing and proclaim using God's word about it. And young people were standing, some of our Fringe kids were standing up and proclaiming, and old people were doing it. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment until. Now,
wait just a second. They weren't just like standing up and proclaiming their own passage.
No.
He had pre-assigned.
Yeah, he had given them. Yes, this was a Baptist church. Everything's pre-assigned in a Baptist church.
There's got to be some order.
Yeah, there's got to be an order to this.
We don't want to let the Spirit lead.
He had pre-assigned it, and he'd given to different people, and then this one elderly gentleman stands up, and he was a pastor from back in the day, and he still carried. He wasn't the pastor of this church, but he was still carried his title, and we all knew him as Pastor John. And Pastor John stands up, and he's got the verse that he's been assigned to read. And it's obvious that he didn't read it beforehand because somehow he got the wrong verse. And the problem was the verse he was supposed to read was in the book of Song of Solomon. And there is some really great, powerful metaphors in Song of Solomon about love. And I could see how, his banner over me is love and all those things. However, John or Perry or somebody mixed up on the verse. And so John stands up in the middle of the service after we've just sang, "Oh, how he loves us," and says, "My sister has small breasts. What shall we do with my sister? If she were a mountain, we would stack bronze plates upon her." And at that point, I think every Fringe kid in that place has started laughing.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the second that happened, like, they were dying laughing. The old people just thought, what heresy just entered the church? And I'm sure there's a bunch of people like thinking, like, I knew this was going to happen. I said it was going to happen. Here we are, willy-nilly, reading about breasts in church,
Stick to the hymns,
why can't we just sing the hymns, And at this point, John looks up and goes, "Perry, I don't think this is the right verse." And I do that thing where I fall over, because I've lost balance because I'm laughing so hard. The whole worship team, every student's laughing, and all the elderly people are horrified, just horrified at what's going on. And that was the biggest visual of how we were on two separate planets in that place. And I wish it ended in such a better place, but in the end, the old people church kind of went back to being an old people church. That's my tale from the Fringe. I don't know if there's a spiritual point there. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Out of context Bible verses are bad. Right. Make sure you get it right if you're in Song of Solomon. Some of those things. Yeah.
We are still listening to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast.
All right, it is time for Pick or flick. It is time for pick or flick, which is a time where we just do hot topics, like in the mall, like the alternative kids go to. Do they still go there? Is there a different one?
Is there still Hot Topics?
I feel like the way progressive culture works is like Hot Topic is now like JCPenney's. And there's a worse one, you know. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, we are going to be sending each other just hot topics and usually topics
hot
of the
topics.
days. No, it's not. That's Hot Pockets.
I'm channeling Sonny.
Sonny literally did that last week. Anyway,
Sonny apparently doesn't know who Jim Gaffigan is. That's what I heard. No,
he doesn't. He's got no idea. He's just not with it.
I'm kidding.
Troll him on social media. Please troll him on social media.
He's not on social media, and he's not going to listen to this podcast, so it's golden.
Leaving me on red. All right. Anyway, so yeah, we get to pick or flick it, and it usually goes pretty fast. So here we go.
Okay, who starts?
You.
Okay, so this. All right. This is a hot take.
Okay, so what viewers can't see is how big Britt is smiling right now. Like she's
I'm
pretty
excited about this. I'm so excited about this.
Okay.
Fail videos. I know it's nothing new, but do you pick or flick fail videos?
Who flicks a fail video?
Well, I don't know if you think it, because I think they're the funniest thing ever, but I feel like you're just like meh.
Well, I mean, they've been overplayed, but it's like, if they're done right, I mean, I'm still gonna watch it, you know. Like, I mean, it never gets old. And this is the thing: is fail videos is the bastard cousin of America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yes, which is still an amazing show.
It's still a show. Yeah. It's literally been on for like 25, maybe 30 years now.
Not as long as we've been in youth ministry, but it's been on for a long time.
Yeah, it started right around the same time as us. And literally, I mean, we still, as a family, get together, and it's something we can all watch together. Mm-hmm. Like, we have a 2-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then a couple, 105-year-olds who've been in youth ministry for a while here, and we can all watch this together. So yeah, if it's done right, if it's a good fail video, I can always watch that. I don't like it when the production's bad on it, but that's just me, like, being like a
the
video.
production of a fail video?
Sometimes they do them stupidly.
You're not supposed to produce a fail video. What do you mean? Like, the way they compile it?
Yeah, the compilation videos, sometimes they do them stupidly, and I just, there's some notes I'd like to give to the fail blog. But other than that, yeah, I'll pick it. What are you thinking?
I pick it all day long because it brings me so much joy. If I'm having like a night to myself, instead of getting on Netflix or instead of getting on Amazon and watching a show, I'll just go on YouTube and watch fail videos. Yep. And you know that.
Absolutely.
But so I have two things. One, I was kind of convicted though, because last week Maverick hit me in the face with a Nerf gun. So that's our 2-year-old. He hit me in the face with a Nerf gun, and our 7-year-old laughed. And I was so mad. And because you know how, like, when you get hit by a kid, it hurts. Yeah. And I was mad that Max was laughing at that.
And when you hit a kid, it hurts too.
Well, I wouldn't know. But I was like, Max, I was so frustrated. I gave him this super long mom lecture about how you can't laugh when people get hurt and all this stuff. And I was like, I'm such a hypocrite, because that's what brings me the most joy in life. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, and then my other thing about that, I have some like plugs here. Yeah. Okay, so my new favorite fail videos is on Instagram, and you go to Worship Fails, and it's just a bunch of fail videos of worship teams, and most of them are live, and it's just it's so good.
I mean, that needed to happen. Yeah. I mean, everybody who's ever even been in a church service or on a worship team knows that happens a lot. Yeah. And when it's recorded, it is glorious.
Yeah. So go to Instagram, go to Worship Fails. It's hilarious.
Man. All right. The one with the lady who does like the fake flute, like she does her own flute. Oh, that is hilarious.
Good ones.
Oh man. Anyway, are you ready for this, Britt?
Yeah.
You ready for this?
I don't know.
All right. VSCO girls.
Oh. See, I feel like I don't fully grasp it. Like, I like VSCO girls.
So you're picking it or flicking it?
I'm going to pick VSCO girls because it reminds me of the 90s. And some people are like,
why does it remind you of the 90s?
Because that's when we had, like, scrunchies and, well, maybe late 80s, early 90s. See, that's what I don't understand. Because some people are like, well, it's basically just the new version of the 80s girl. But I think it's more like a 90s girl, right?
I don't know. I don't know. You're the expert on this stuff.
I'm not an expert. Do I have a hydro flask? Yes.
With a lot of stickers on it?
It's sitting right next to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And does it have, like, a braided... thing from camp on it?
Yeah.
Absolutely it does.
It totally does.
Are you currently wearing a flannel?
Yeah.
Yeah, and jeans?
Yeah, but I'm obviously not a
bracelet
girl.
from
last year's summer camp?
Yeah. So
I'm not a VSCO girl, though. I'm not, because I think you have to be blonde to be one, too, so that's annoying.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah. You know, we have a really big demographic of blonde people who listen to this show, so they probably were offended now.
I love scrunchies, though.
So yes. Okay.
I don't wear them because my hair's short, but I love scrunchies.
All right.
I don't get it when boys are wearing scrunchies. That's tough for me, but I don't want to get into gender stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we probably steer clear of that. Okay. I mean, there's a lot going on there in our culture and our churches. And,
I don't mean in their hair. I just mean on their wrists. It's like, what? Yeah, what's up? But you know, you're the TikTok guy. What do you think about VSCO girls? Pick or flick? About the phenomenon.
I don't know. I just don't think it's that funny of a thing to make fun of. Like, for me, it's like... there's funnier. They're like things that are funnier to make fun of, or like millennials. I'm a millennial. They're way more funny to make fun of. I mean, Gen Z is generation boomers. I love all the generational making fun of. VSCO girls is so nuanced, and the definition is hard to kind of wrap your mind around what is a VSCO girl and what isn't a VSCO girl. And it's like, you know, it's. What I kind of understood it to be is this kind of like basic white girl now.
That's what I was going to say. It's basically just the basic white girl kind of idea.
It's the Starbucks girl. And so I don't know. I mean, our churches are filled with VSCO girls in that way. Yeah, so I don't hate them at all. Like, they tend to be really sweet, nice people. So, whereas there are people who deserve to be made fun of. And
True.
VSCO girls, even though they can be, you know, basic... I'm okay with that. In a world that's trying so desperately to everyone have their own individual, and guys are wearing scrunchies, I think a VSCO girl's a nice reprieve.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'll take it.
That's true.
I'll not take it. I'll pick it.
I'd rather have a youth group full of VSCO girls than one full of like Billie Eilish fans or something. You know,
this is the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast, and we literally you just literally said you don't want Fringe Can.
But I just don't want. Yeah. Okay. She just scares me, even though I like her songs.
She scares you. She's just the new Bella from Twilight. It's just the same. We've all known the alternative girl.
I guess.
This is a story of a girl cried a river. We were talking about this in the 90s.
I know. Okay. My next pick or flick, it seems basic. See, now you're calling me out. It's so basic.
Okay, well, go
ahead.
You
know what it is? Stickers.
Oh, I picked the right ones today. I absolutely did. Stickers. I mean, I can't wait because, you know, even more than T-shirts, I haven't worn really any of the T-shirts I got from last year.
I know, which is why it makes me mad you didn't get them in my size.
Well, I'm going to get them. You can wear them all. I didn't want to get you more T-shirts because I know you'll just wear the crap out of them. Okay. So it's like an addiction for you. And stickers are too. I don't mind stickers. I have an iPad back that has a bunch of stickers on it, and I really like nice looking stickers. And we have some cool stickers for our Grace Point now that are awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna pick them, but I don't have a really like crazy opinion on it. Is there anybody out there who's like, oh, stickers? Maybe cops. Remember in like the early 2000s when all the skater kids were like putting stickers
on everything,
everything, and that was kind of like the new graffiti. So, maybe there is a demographic that doesn't like stickers.
Yeah,
I don't remember that one that was going around Port Angeles. It was like Tony Dan. What's that guy? Tony
Danza.
Tony Danza must pay. That's what it said. It just had a picture of him on it. I still don't know what that is.
It was so mysterious, but it was all over town.
It was everywhere. So I don't know. I don't know what that was.
I don't think there's people that hate stickers, but I think there's people that love stickers.
Yeah, that's true.
And they get crazy about it.
I'm definitely not that person. No. I'm not that person.
I'm picking it, but I do think it's ridiculous how we're like, and we ordered Fringe stickers for the convention, so we're going to be handing out Fringe stickers.
That's right.
But I do think it's ridiculous, like, hey, comment on our thing and you get a sticker. Mm-hmm. But we're all like little kids. We just want stickers, and I don't even know why.
Yeah.
Most of the stickers that I have are just in a drawer because I only have one Hydro Flask, and I don't know where else to put the stickers.
Yeah. I've been secretly trying to figure out a clever way of phrasing putting a Fringe sticker on your thing, because our logo, if you guys don't know, is just a giant F. So, but I can't don't go there. F up your Hydro Flask, you know?
I was going somewhere else.
I don't know, you know, whatever, man.
Yeah. But I do have to confess that I don't think you know this because I do most of the looking at our budget, so you may not know that I have a secret sticker subscription where I get stickers sent to me each month.
This became a marital situation right here.
I have like a drawer full of stickers that I was telling myself I'm going to give them away to people, but I'm just hoarding them now.
So you have secrets that you've been keeping from me?
All right, your turn.
John MacArthur was right.
Hashtag
John MacArthur apologist. No. Should I go there?
Are you going to John MacArthur?
Yeah, let's talk about John MacArthur.
What does that have to do with VSCO girls?
Pick or flick John MacArthur. And we don't have to get too serious on this because this has been a fun light.
I don't want to do that because that's what he did to Beth Moore. I'm not going to pick or flick him. I'm not going to do that. Okay?
So this is how he got in trouble, right? Like it was a hot topic kind of situation.
Exactly.
And,
I can't pick or flick him.
Well, I guess that's true.
But you know what? I do appreciate like all the memes, and I do think it's opened up some fun, interesting discussions. And I did listen to his sermon that he delivered a couple weeks ago that went deeper into his feelings about women in ministry. Yeah. And it goes deep.
It feels like John MacArthur has just gotten to a place where he's so old that he doesn't care anymore. You know, and I feel like that's every old person gets there. Like eventually, like old people and young people are the most honest people in society because they have like the least amount to lose. So everybody in between is kind of pretentious, but people on both sides, and that's kind of when the things come out, the fangs come out, or the sweetness comes out, or whatever the person is kind of comes out. So I just think that when it comes right down to it, right now we've got. We're kind of seeing somebody's true colors. I'm going to leave it at that.
Okay.
You know?
You leave it at that. Yeah. I've enjoyed some of the discussions that it brings up, and
as you can tell, we're lightly touching this because we don't want to offend, because we realize that this is a hot topic for a lot of different people. And when we say these things, all of a sudden, like whatever side you come down on is now your side, and you're penciled in there forever. However, I will just say it's just kind of telling. Yeah. Just a lot of things are coming out right now. So
yeah, it is. It's telling. And, it's funny that I'll sit there and I watch the Kanye sharing his testimony at Joel Osteen's church. And I'm like, and I can relate more to Kanye than I can to John MacArthur right now. I will tell you that much.
That is kind of crazy right now.
I will tell you that much.
That is kind of crazy. But yeah, when you say, and that's different for us because we grew up in a pretty conservative church. Yeah. And so to be in a place where it's like, Kanye and Joel Osteen are on a stage together, and I like that more than what John MacArthur's preaching about. Anyway. So we are excited about seeing you guys next week. Please come by the CIY booth. We'll be putting that on our social media whenever it comes out, when our times are, when our slots are. And I can't wait. To be hanging out with you guys and to meet some of you guys face-to-face, some face-to-face randos. Some of you guys already reached out to us. So we can't wait to meet you and greet you and
give you a sticker
and F up your hydro flasks. You got anything else you want to add, Britt?
No.
Oh, is that what you're going to do? You're just going to pull Sonny right now?
Yeah, I have to. I'm channeling him.
Yeah, well, you're supposed to wait a little bit longer.
Oh, shoot. I can't handle silence.
Usually his thing is, you got anything else for us, Sonny? There's a good 10-second pause. And he goes, no. That's his whole thing.
Okay. Well,
I don't want you to have that thing.
I'm not good with silence. Do I have anything else?
Yeah.
To be frank, no.
Yeah. To be frank, like Frank Gill? No?
See you at the convention, Frank.
We're coming for you, Frank. Our show's got a lot longer than 15 minutes. So much value.
Thank you for listening to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast. Don't believe anything my dad